Now, Yerushalmi Demai, Daf Chof Dalet. The Mishnah, we learned the Mishnah. Mishnah says, who is allowed to eat the Mai? The Aniyim and the Chayolim, the Yiddish people that work for the army. And then we spoke about Gabbai Tzedakah, how they do the job according to Beshama and Basil. Now we'll go to the Gemara. Omer Abyoiner, Masnit Bani Chaverim Bechsanya Kereb Yeshua. What does this mean? A Mishnah that says, Yerushalmi Demai, we're not talking about Amei Haaretz, we talk about Ani Chaverim. And they know that they have to do it themselves. Because they know that that's the halacha, that Yerushalmi Demai. So that's why the owner does not have to be choishish. He says, I'm giving you the mai and you do the job on your own. What's the story of Tachsanya? It's a different hatter. Rabbi Shua. What's the story of Tachsanya? Rabbi Shua. Tani Maaser Shua halachic habich mazak the bur chayil. Vayoisem ne yos mavil hem peiros om ne Shua im lanu kan chayom on laaser im lav in chayom laaser. It means you need a chotzer to be kaveya. So since there's no chotzer, that's the heter. That's the heter because even if it's a vaday, it's not a problem. That's the heter according to Yoina. Yasom, no. This is not pshat in the Mishnah. So again, Rabbi Yoina has a pshat in the Mishnah. What's the din? What's the special din in niyam echsanya? He explains niyam means chaverim and echsanya means the heter because they are not long, and that's why it's not kaveya. You can even talk about the Niyamas. Can't be such a thing. You should say that you're not allowed to give food for Haaretz. Tana Hagerim Agorim Imochem the Rav Sachsanya Gam Goyim Oichem Peu Shvius. Das Oime the Achsanya Shalakim. What you say now Kavana Muta Lahachel Chayole Goyim. That's a pshat. So again, Aniyam we say it doesn't matter. Aniyam Haaretz, no problem. Achsanya, what does Achsanya mean? Achsanya means, according to Rabbi Yasser, it means goyim. That's how you learned. I don't know if it's related, like according to Rabbi Yasser, the Shtose, or it just says two different pshatim. It says that he's more mekel. It means that's the Chaver is saying he's more mekel than Rabbi Yoina. Sai in the din of Am Haaretz of Haniyam is mekel, and Sai in the din of in both dinim, in both halachas, he's more mekel. Okay, now we'll go to the next piece of Gemara. Tzorch le'idiyah. That's what it says in the Bryce. Adat Rabbi Yoina di Omer bani Chavei Masnita Nicha. Rabbi Yasser di Omer bani Am Haaretz Masnita Afil Madim Ma'amoyed. De'ech shemesak. So it says in the Bryce that Tzorch le'idiyah. Now the Gemara is asking him this a question. Adat Rabbi Yoina di Omer bani Am Chavei Masnita Nicha. Makes sense. Obviously, you tell them hello. That's what the Mishnah teaches us. I'm allowed to give you the mind. These people understand that they're to be Maaser, they're Chaverim. Just without telling them, they would assume that since the giver is a Talmud Chacham, he doesn't give only Maaser. So he tells them, no, you should know, I am not to give Maaser since I'm giving a tzedakah here, so you should do it. The only answer is answer is, you try your best. But try your best. Omri Amon, Ada Omri. I'm not saying a new thing here. Ada Omri, Tanakama she'oisa lahaychel pe'alam damai. So you like the lav tzedakah damya. Rak perius choyf. It's a very important aside that Gamliel used to give his workers the mai. Tanakama says no, you can't do it. Aniyam there's a heter, right? Whatever the heter should be, but not get into the details. The fact is, the Mishnah says you're allowed to give aniyam the mai. Let's say even for aniyam amaretz, let's get the full, no problem. But pe'alim, no. Pe'alim not. Why should the heter only applies to aniyam, not to pe'alim? Ilan die haben beweisen. Pe'alim shedorim. Bebayis, when the zoyne beschar melachtam. I don't know the exact language. Die haben de jeven beweisen. Language is not so clear. They used to be workers that they just their payment was that they had a right to live there and get food. Also lit med mei shvius. She'ene elke pereya choy med mei shvius. Same concept. We see from this that when you give for the worker food, it's not like he's giving for ani tzedakah. You're paying your bills. You cannot pay your bills from the mei shvius. That's the halacha. You're not allowed to pay a choyv from the mei shvius. And here also the Tanakama says you cannot give for the pe'alim because it's not like you're giving tzedakah. You are paying a choyv. You have to pay the worker. You're not allowed to pay with the mai. You're going to pay Maaser Sheni, and if from him milva v'choyv, and oismem sheshvinas, meshalmem mehem teshlumen. So now it goes into halachas in general. All the halachas of what you're allowed to do with pay with shvius or Maaser Sheni. You're not allowed to pay bells with it. Based on tzedakah and nibais knesses. Av meshalchen, it's also poskim hem tzedakah. It's a little bit different, but I guess psikas tzedakah maybe is more like paying a choiv. It's also av meshalchen mehem b'davar shegmas chesed b'tzorch le'dir. Tell them that's the halacha. Tamatanin. Now we're starting a new sugya. Poil she'ein maimed ba'abayis. It's a Mishnah later on. There's a way that the worker doesn't trust the balabayis, so he's mafresh from the things that they give him to eat. He's mafresh. So now we're asking a new kasha now. What's the kasha? There you say the poil is mafresh. Tanakama says that you're not allowed to give the mai. What does it mean? That the owner gives breakfast or supper for the poil. The owner has to separate. He cannot, as we just had now, he's not an oni. It's a regular payment. You cannot. You're chuyev to supply this poil with food. That's part of the deal. So you cannot give him the mai. But there we see that the poil is doing the job. Tam oma poil mafish, and it's mashmalei after ba'as Chaver. Mashma that Rabbi Bias himself doesn't even have to worry about it. I'm talking to a Chaver. He say, you know what? It's not my job. I'm going to give you to eat, and you're going to do whatever you want. You take off. If you say the Balabais is obligated, there's two types of workers. There's an exact measurement. She knows he's getting exactly 5 pounds of this. There's a certain amount exactly how much he gets. So let him take off, let him do the job. I guess we assume that the payment is including already this. So he has to know when he makes up the payment plan, he should ask enough that she be able to be mafish. The point is, the Balabais doesn't have to worry about it. He tells the Poel, I'm giving you food. I know it's Demai, but you'll be busy with it. You take off. It comes out truest Maaser with Maaser Sheni. So that's your department. But if there's no exact achilim and avos, if it's not an exact amount, achilim and avos, it says take as much as you want, then the Balabais has to be mafish because the Poel doesn't know exactly how much he's planning to eat. So Balabais should do the job. This is a new. I think there's a new thing here. You can make a new paragraph from this. There's a Chaver, a Roif, a doctor, and he goes into a sick person's house. He cannot eat, so the Roif takes the food from the Haaretz and he just serves him. He's not allowed to directly put it into his mouth. But even the Mai can use the choil's food. He cannot take his food and give the Mai for this person. He's not allowed to give the Mai for anybody. There's no Isser Tevel Paris Goy. Mishal Roifa Aser. Because the Roifa is giving his fruits. So it seems here that the Goy I don't know how to interpret this, that you can give tevel from a Goy even though he is not allowed to eat it, but a Goy is allowed to eat tevel. So it's not like I'm over from the Ibra sit and Michshel here. Philip Bevadim Mutter. And the Chaver means even feeding him in his mouth. Because it's not, he's eating tevel, a Goy is allowed to eat tevel. I cannot give my tevel because I have to be misaken before it's part of din that I cannot have a noah from it. But if it belongs to the Goy, so Avada I cannot eat by the tevel. But the Goy is not an Isser, doesn't have any Isser of eating tevel. So what's my problem? I take his tevel, I'm feeding it to him. It's a separate din. Then it's a tevel but pay with Goy. I should write better. The ain't is a legoy lechel tevel. That should be more accurate. Should wait for also because then you're giving it. You are using the tevel. Now I'll go back to our Mishnah. Our Mishnah we had this halacha in the Mishnah. What did the Mishnah say? Shami says, "Noisnem esam usel she'ena maaser." Let's start here. B'shama Amrim, which you know goes in the Mishnah. Kasha the B'shama begin do kasha yafsid. It's not a fair deal. You're going around for this for the Chaver ani, the poor man that's a kosher. He's a good man. He makes sure to take off, and you're giving him from the guys that don't take off. So right now he's gonna have to take off. He knows that. He knows the halacha. He knows that he gets stuff that are not Maaser. So he's gonna lose out. And if you want, my time B'Shamai. So what's B'Shamai? Fertig the Renu Achshov Atichel Gadri as my Atichel Gadri. What does this mean? Now you can take care of him. What does it mean? In other words, he's saying, what does the Rabbi say? That you don't worry, you give out the Mai for people that are not careful. How can you do such a thing? It's very interesting language. Language is very hard, very difficult to understand. Tigderenu here means you make on him. So you cannot make such a kula to give for a person demai that you cannot keep up that kula when it becomes rich. That's what it means. Afilet tigderenu achshav yochel at legadroi. Achazman einat yochel legadroi. Atam the Rabbanon dagdik at achrov. Afu mevad betzdaka. That's considered a miyat tzedakah. If you only want to give the enema usser for the ma'asrim, that's considered miyat. The gabbai is gonna go around searching people that are tzaddikim, so he's not gonna give out the food. That's called miyat mitzvah tzedakah. You don't want to do such a thing. It will be much more plausible that the words Aflitik Deranu will go like Vasil. That Aflitik Deranu, you're trying to save. Basil says, you're trying to save this Haaretz, poor Haaretz, by giving him food and Masukin. You cannot save him for his whole life. Once he becomes rich, he's going to buy the Mai. That could be a good reason for Basil. But it doesn't sound, because the Gemara brings down time of the Rabbanon. I should have said my time of the Basil, but I don't know. Cholkem Stam. It would be very nice if we can be going to say my time of the Basil. Basil says, what do you accomplish? You're giving for the poor man. You cannot for his whole life pamper him. He's going to have to learn to take off Maaser. If you're medagdik not to give for the poor Haaretz, only Masukin, he doesn't have Masukin, he's not going to give him. I don't know. Very hard to understand. What does it mean? That's why Yerushalmi argues, don't make this thing that you should try, don't like Basil says that you're mekel. Very, very dachik, very dachik. It's Sosum this Gemara, I don't know Pshat. Let's go weiter. Gabe tzedakah b'Yom Tov le'mei b'chrizin, gedech b'chrizin b'choel, aber goyim b'tzinem restes tzecheke. Achal g'chal shchuna v'nei atzma. Gaboi kippe b'shviyas, it comes to Shmita, le'im dagdikem, le'yigbi u'moz b'chatzeres, shal eichle shviyas. People that are over on shviyas. Nas le'im pas, mutter. Shal yinach shishul is noisen eloi moz oi beitzes. Interesting that Easter converted into money or into eggs. Another time, Moshe Zoyim v'oichlam. Chashudim l'zroy v'gam leichlam. Moshe Zoyim leichlam. Moichlam say he will nachri pardon hamaz. Leichlam chashudim kolshkan lahaychel. You're not going to do a mitzvah above avera if you're not choshed leichel. Kana gab b'tahara dagti v'chtzeva shel oid cheshviyas. Ech kana gab l'isa b'tahara v'lit la'chala. Misha chot l'shviyas osa l'sayeh. Eerst time tonen met dagti. Een pech man tonen met dagti chalos. She osa kohen lecha la'chala. So how can you help him out? He's pay with shviyas. Ermi dagti means don't go around, don't help them out. Maar dan met dagti met chiv van la'chala, charis l'chamur, tevel Maaser she's lo yisese. I want to save him at least from Tevel. Get the Oysa, maybe Kohen Choshet, Matbiloi, Mechiloi. Limit Mois the Haaretz Lam Haaretz. Amano Kohen Choshet, Matbiloi. Mesham Ad Erev Mechiloi Loi. So Mechazik Ad Erev Avera. Kohen Zech Roshiz. Mesham Ad Erev Pesach Soifa. He takes it himself, and he just waits till Erev Pesach and his Soifa. He cannot eat it up because it's Pei Shviyas. Shviyas is also b'achila, talking about pears that were planted on Shavuos. This is the end. We finished now Daf Chof Dalet and Chof Hey. Chof Dalet and Chof Hey. Chof Dalet and Chof Hey.